The Prime Minister's newest cabinet has its marching orders. They wrapped their first cabinet gathering a short time ago. Mark Carney says the group is tailor-made to meet the moment. Many Canadians will be impatient to see them produce results quickly. Carney says that starts with a tax cut.
Canadians sent a clear message that they need to see improvements in their affordability. We promised a middle-class tax cut leading to over $800 of savings for two-income households. We're acting today on that so that by July 1st, as promised, that middle-class tax cut that will reduce taxes for the 22 million Canadians who pay federal income taxes, that tax cut will take into effect.
The CBC's Karina Roman is all over today's meeting. She joins us now live from our Ottawa bureau. So, Karina, what's the latest we're learning from this first gathering of the new cabinet?
Well, I was first going to tell you all about what he was signing there, which I will get to in a moment. But what we're learning is that there will be no budget before the fall, that there will just be a fall economic statement. So this is coming as quite a surprise for many. And, you know, so we'll learn in the throne speech the priorities. There will be individual legislation on things like that tax cut he was talking about. But no overall financial framework until the fall, and a fall economic statement is not a budget. So that in itself is lesser than an actual full budget. So a lot of surprise there, and so a lot of questions to the Finance Minister, François-Philippe Champagne, who had to repeat over and over again that there was no spring or early summer budget coming. Have a listen to what he had to say.
The first thing you do is the first step of this government is a middle-class tax cut. That's the first thing. You start with that. Then you say, well, you need to have a throne speech to say what are the priorities of the government. And once you've done that, then you do an economic statement, which is going to be the fall economic statement. So this is the logical piece.
Year at this point, right?
Well,
we're just going to go fall.
Fall is fall. You know, I could not be clearer than that. Fall is fall.
So fall is fall. So we're all grappling with that latest development. At the same time, as you saw there in the beginning, the Prime Minister signing a prime ministerial directive that the first order of business for the government, and therefore to create legislation, for the Finance Minister to create legislation for this to be passed, is that tax cut of 1% off the lowest tax bracket rate to go into effect for July 1st. And would benefit anyone who pays taxes because it is on the lowest tax bracket. So that's them trying to signal action. I mean, the Prime Minister did yesterday say that this was coming, and so today trying to show that. At the same point, that might get overshadowed a little bit by the fact that we just learned that there's not going to be a budget. But Carney wants Canadians to know that, yes, Donald Trump and tariffs dominated the election, but he understands that people are still very concerned about affordability, and that's what this tax cut is meant to address. And in fact, we have a picture here of what he signed. So, you know, we don't have executive orders. It's not that, but this was just a signal that the Finance Minister should make this the first priority. We are also getting to know some new faces, because there are a lot of new faces in this cabinet. And some of those new faces being asked questions that really kind of mean they have to kind of defend why they're there. One of those new faces is Wayne Long. He was basically the first Liberal MP to be outwardly outspoken about Justin Trudeau needing to leave. And so he was asked on his way into cabinet today whether his Secretary of State position was payback for that outspokenness. This is what he had to say.
I think the Prime Minister is well beyond doing favors for people. I think he picks people who are qualified and people that can contribute and move our country forward. I'm really excited to get going.
You were really... Another new face, at least to federal politics, is Gregor Robertson, who is the new housing minister. But lots of talk about how the record on housing in Vancouver when he was mayor was not great. When it turns out, of course, that the cost of housing went up tremendously under him when he was mayor, and obviously since then as well. And that's what he pointed to in terms of the issue of the affordability crisis in housing not being isolated either to Vancouver or to during the time that he was mayor. So have a listen to what he had to say.
Since my time as mayor, we've seen a lot more movement here in Ottawa, and we've got great programs starting to work now. A housing accelerator program is partnering with cities to deliver. I'm here to leverage my history as a mayor. I know what works on the ground. I wasn't getting the help I needed from the federal government when I was mayor, or the provincial government of all stripes. We need, as a government in Ottawa, to be delivering.
We also are learning about the makeup of different cabinet committees, which really gives an indication of who is really in charge of files. So, for example, the Build Canada Committee, which is a new cabinet committee, is going to be chaired by Tim Houghton, who is the Energy and Natural Resources Minister, co-chaired by Chrystia Freeland. Gregor Robertson is on that, but he doesn't chair it, and that's because this whole Build Canada idea is about more than just housing.
Yeah, thank you. The CBC's Karina Roman live in Ottawa.